Good afternoon, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jets Show. And the Jets lost to the Baltimore Ravens 24-9. Let's go ahead and talk about the good and the bad from today's performance. Starting off with the good. I don't think the New York Jets played terrible today, and I actually have us doing more good things than bad. Starting off with the defense's performance in the first half, we only allowed the Ravens to have 11 total rushing yards, which is the least most by the Ravens in a half since 2016. Yeah, we were really good when it came to stopping the run in the first half, and overall in this game, we did a pretty solid job of it. Baltimore only had 63 total rushing yards, and for a team that's really good when it comes to rushing the ball, and for the Jets that really don't have a single tackle that's phenomenal when it comes to stopping the run. And I actually thought we were going to struggle out the season. We lost Fuller Fatukasi to the Jags in the all-season, and we really didn't sign anyone to replace him, and the one kind of promising run-stuffing defensive tackle we had got cut. So to see the New York Jets only allow 63 rushing yards is pretty solid, and Lamar Jackson only had 17 rushing yards on the day, which definitely shows that the New York Jets defense improved a lot during the offseason, and their performance today, only allowing the Ravens to have 24 points. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but them only allowing Lamar Jackson to 17 rushing yards is phenomenal. And last season, if the Jets would have played the Ravens, the score would have been in the 40s because Lamar Jackson would have had like 150 yards against us. We couldn't stop rushing quarterbacks last season, but now we can, which is good to see. Mark Andrews also only had 52 yards, which isn't, what you want to allow from a receiver. 52 yards is kind of a lot, but it's definitely less than I expected. I really didn't feel comfortable with the Jets linebacking core and the safeties to stop Mark Andrews. I thought he was going to have like 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, crazy stats like that, but he only had 52 yards, which was the third most on the Ravens. We saw really good performances from both of our two running backs, Michael Carter and Breece Hall. Carter had 60 rushing yards and 40 receiving yards, a total of exactly 100 yards on the day, and Breece Hall had 23 rushing yards and 38 receiving yards. This combo of Carter and Hall is going to be really good. I mean, the combo of Carter and Hall is just going to be so dangerous in the future, especially whenever Breece Hall finally develops into an NFL player. DJ Reed had an interception, so we won't have to wait till like week 8 to get a pick. That was absolutely insane last season. We didn't have any ball-hawking players, but now we have DJ Reed getting an interception week 1, and it was also a pretty impressive interception as well. Garrett Wilson's going to be a really good player. This dude's going to be a stud. He didn't really get a lot of snaps in today's game, and as the New York Jets' 4th-string receiver, I want to say he got the 4th most snaps among our receivers, but also had the 2nd most receiving yards. Once the New York Jets get him more involved, we're going to see a lot more success from this offense, and Garrett Wilson honestly could have a good chance to win Rookie of the Year. And Tyler Conklin also had a touchdown pass. But now let's go ahead and talk about the bad. The Jets' offensive line could not stop the Ravens' pass rush, like, at all. They only had 3 sacks and 10 QB hits, but it felt like Joe Flacco was under pressure every single play. And I honestly don't feel like Flacco played bad. He had some pretty good throws outside of the one interception that honestly really wasn't his fault. Lawrence Cage just slipped. I mean, outside of that, one play, Flacco wasn't terrible. He threw for 307 yards on 37 attempts, so, take it with a grain of salt. But, I mean, what are you going to expect him to do? He's a 37-year-old quarterback who's never been mobile in his entire career. So now he's probably like the least mobile he's ever been. When the Ravens are sending the house on him, what are you expecting him to do? I mean, it's like he's stuck in mud. If he would have had Zach Wilson back there, he could have scrambled. He could have extended those plays. He would have had a lot of space to work with outside of the pocket. But because he's hurt and because Flacco was just stuck in mud the entire game and he's 37 years old, that's the performance we got. And I mean, it wasn't terrible. As I said, we had more good than bad. It's just we couldn't deliver on 3rd down, and the pressure was just too much for an aging Joe Flacco, and that caused him to make some bad throws. If the New York Jets would have actually gave Flacco some time, the score would have been a lot different. Or even if we had a Zach Wilson, the score would have been a lot different, but because we have a non-mobile quarterback in Flacco, we had what we had on offense. We also had a lot of fumbles in this game. Breece Hall fumbled the ball on a pretty promising drive after he got a 1st down. And I mean, if he would have, scored right there, if the New York Jets would have got a touchdown, the score definitely would have been a lot different. We also saw Tyler Conklin fumble after he got a 1st down while we were in the red zone. And after he fumbled, Garrett Wilson recovered, and, the New York Jets had to kick a field goal. If Tyler Conklin wouldn't have fumbled, we had the 1st down, would have we have 7 points at halftime instead of 3? And speaking of field goals, Greg Zuerlein sucks. He missed an extra point and a field goal today. The dude that beat out Eddie Pinheiro for the starting job, who honestly isn't doing bad in Carolina right now, Greg Zuerlein should have had a much better performance. And when are the New York Jets ever going to find a solid kicker? That solid kicker was Eddie Pinheiro, but we decided to cut him for a washed-up veteran in Greg Zuerlein. He's not the same player he was back in 2017. We just need to let it go, and who knows if we're ever going to find a good and promising kicker. Eddie Pinheiro was our one chance to finally pick someone off the streets who was actually good. But instead, we decided to go with the washed-up veteran. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But if we wouldn't have had that missed field goal, who knows what the score would have been. I mean, there's just a lot of missed opportunities from the Jets in this game. But next week, we play the Browns. Gonna have the preview video out on Thursday. What are you guys' thoughts on today's performance? Comment it down below. I'm your host, Jets, signing off for now. See you guys later. Peace.